BioInvent International är ett svenskt forsknings- och läkemedelsbolag som fokuserar på klinisk framtagning och utveckling av antikroppar för immunterapi mot cancer. Och jag ska ringa upp en av de största aktieägarna i det här bolaget för att höra varför han investerade i bolaget och varför han även investerade i den senaste rundan. Det är Vincent Ossipow som opererar genom en fond som heter Omega Funds. Hi Vincent Ossipow, you are one of the major shareholders in BioInvent International. Could you please tell me why you believe in the company?
We like the company because the first reason is the science, which is very high quality, and there are objective measures for that. For instance, the publications in high-impact journals, and it's a team that has published in very good journals, very important science. The other reason is the fact that they are operating in one of the most interesting area of oncology, namely immuno-oncology, which is a very high growth area that can address very high unmet medical needs in oncology. And the last reason, I guess, is the valuation, which is compared to US peers, for instance, very low. So it's kind of a flying below the radar. So for these reasons.
And how far have they come in the clinical phase?
So they are what we call sort of early stage. They are starting to go in the clinic with the lead asset and in hemato-oncology. They will start in solid tumors. And then behind these lead assets, they also have other drug candidates, which are not in the clinic yet, but for which they are highly promising preclinical data. So typically you would call it early stage, but there is enough data to sort of hint that there is a big potential.
As I said in the beginning, you operate through Omega Funds and Omega 6. Could you please tell me more about the company and how do you decide upon which company to invest in?
So we operate from our fund number 6, Omega 6. It's a $430 million US vehicle. And with that vehicle, we invest both in private companies, so sort of a venture capital type of investments, always in healthcare, and very selectively in public companies. When we do invest in public companies, such as in BioInvent, we look for companies which we think are overlooked but have a very high potential. And when we invest, we also try to be quite operative in the companies, so contribute with our experience, network, connections, and so forth.
When did you invest in BioInvent for the first time?
So the first time was in 2015, and then we invested again on a few occasions.
And how far has the company come over the past years?
So they've progressed a lot on many fronts. The first one is on the science and product development. They accumulate new data with they uncovered also new molecular targets for immuno-oncology. So that's one area where they have progressed. Another area where they progress is the team. They have solidified the team, the board, and so forth. And lastly, and recently, they have progressed on the investor base with new specialist investors coming in that very recent financing. And now they have a bit more financial resources, cushion or buffer to execute on the promising pipeline they have. So many great progress over the last years.
And how committed are you in your investments? Have you been driving some changes in BioInvent?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we are quite operative when we invest in companies. We are not activists, but not too far from that. In that particular case, BioInvent, we were very active. Obviously, it's not something I've done alone. There were other people driving that effort, in particular on the board. And one of the things we did was to change the CEO. The prior CEO was somebody who was perfectly adequate for the phase of the company. Now the company is in a different phase, namely really clinical development, and we needed someone who has that experience. So after a search, we recruited Martin, who is, I must say, a very, very strong CEO. We also hired a new chief medical officer who has lots of experience in oncology, immuno-oncology. So no, we did quite some changes also at the board level, with Christopher recently joining us again. So now we have a very solid team to execute.
So one can tell that you like the current management, but what do you think about the pipeline and the future for the company? What are your hopes?
We hope for the best, obviously, but they have a very high potential because they have many so-called first-in-class products. That means that some of the targets, or most of the targets they track with the monoclonal antibodies are novel targets. So if that works, it will be a huge benefit for patients, for doctors, but also highly rewarding for investors. Whenever you see a company coming with a new target, and there are examples, including recent examples such as Compugene, which is an Israeli company. They have promising data with a new target in immuno-oncology. The valuation now is over $1 billion. Another such company with new targets is NextCure, which also has a very high valuation. So whenever a company has good data with a first-in-class or new target, this is highly rewarding in terms of share price development. And this is where BioInvent should be in a few quarters, because they will get several of these first-in-class into the clinic. Now they have the financial resources and the team to exploit those. So if and when the data come, then there should be a massive, price expansion for the company. Now, what everybody should understand as well is that this is a high-risk, high-reward business, and there is never certainty in terms of clinical data. It's really venturing into the unknown. Where we are somehow reassured is that because of the quality of the science, it's not a team that cuts corner in terms of a target validation, preclinical validation. So we have some level of comfort that one of these shot on goal should actually work.
And Vincent, the last question. BioInvent just took in more money. Why did you decide to invest in this round?
Well, again, valuation compared to US peers is really low. Again, because this company is clearly flying under the radar. So it's cheap compared to other companies at the same stage in immuno-oncology with such an innovative pipeline. So price was one of the reasons. And the other reason is that now with the amount of cash they've raised, they will be able to flip several different clinical cards. And you just need one of these cards to work, and the company is going to be worth, many times the price they are trading at. So, saying differently, that they have many shots on goal, and they are compared to other cheap. So it's it's a risk. Biotech is a risky business, but the risk reward in that case is very compelling in our opinion.
Thank you so much, Vincent Ossipow.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye-bye.